Hello everyone, welcome to the Storyist. People often say that the more you have, the more you should give. But one kind-hearted black teenager actually does not believe in this. Because he believes that no matter how much or how less a person has, he shall always give. Today, I will be telling you a story about a homeless billionaire who surprises a kind black teenager for helping him. Stay until the end of the video to find out what happened. Jamal is a very industrious boy. He was born to a really poor family. They don't even have a proper home of their own. They are just living in the carcasses of wealthy people's garbage, above the bridge that helps cover their home. During the rainy days, their makeshift home will flop and they will all run to the small cave opening near the bridge by the river. Once the rain falls harder, the water in the river will rise with it, and they will have no other choice but to vacate the cave and wander the streets with their wet belongings. But despite this kind of living, Jamal never viewed his family as homeless, because his mother always tells him that homeless people are those without a shelter over their heads and without a family. But Jamal is gifted with a very caring and loving family, and because of this, he never thinks of himself as homeless. Because of their financial status, Jamal's family earns only enough for their little family to get by. Jamal has always wanted to go to school. He believes that the key to get his family out of their current life is to study hard, earn a degree, and work in a good company. Ever since he was a little kid, it has always been his dream to help his family rise again. Jamal's parents weren't always that poor. Their family used to have a good income from their household before, and along with it, they also had a roof over their head and a pretty comfortable life. But everything changed when Jamal's father got retrenched from his job because of the global crisis that struck all over the world more than a decade back. Many call it today as the worst retrenchment in history, and millions of workers had lost their main sources of income. The Great Retrenchment is also the reason why most people in Jamal's hometown are all homeless. Apparently, Jamal's family is one of those who were most affected by this crisis, and that happened just 2 years after Jamal was born. Now Jamal is 15 years old. He struggles to go to public school for black teenagers, supported by the mayor of their hometown. But the school is plenty of miles away from the bridge where Jamal and his family stay. But with his eagerness to learn and study, he walks every day from beneath the bridge to their school. Sometimes Jamal will even walk there barefoot because his family didn't have enough money to buy him shoes. But all these hardships are no match to Jamal's perseverance to study and bring his family back to where they were before the crisis. Jamal may be too young to understand this, but it is obvious that he is smarter than his age, and because of his ability, he tops his school in his first year of studying. Indeed, Jamal is a bright student with a brave and determined heart. One day, Jamal sees a white man in his late 50s waiting for a bus. He is baffled for a moment because he sees the man is wearing a clean and proper suit and tie paired with black pants. But he is wearing no shoes. He is very confused. How can a man who looks like that forget to wear his shoes? The 15-year-old Jamal asked himself all innocently. After a while, the bus comes and the man with no shoes climbs up the bus like everything is normal. People are starting to look at him, too, at that moment. But he acts like there is nothing out of the ordinary. As the bus drives away, Jamal continues walking too. But he can't stop thinking about the shoeless man. For a whole day, he keeps thinking what might have happened to the man's shoes. Were they broken in the middle of his walk? Were they stolen? Jamal keeps asking himself, but then realizes his feet are freezing from the damp street he is walking onto. He giggles at the thought that he is wondering about the man's missing shoes, and yet he himself has no shoes on. The following morning, Jamal is walking down the road that he often takes towards his school when yet again he sees the white old man from the other day. This time, the sun is shining brightly, and he notices that his hair is platinum blonde and his eyes are blue. It's quite impossible this American is homeless. He seems pretty fine, Jamal thinks to himself. But in just a few seconds, his gaze shifts to the man's bare feet again. He is still not wearing any footwear. And as a man in nearly old age, he worries that the man might get sick. But before he can approach and get closer to him, he has already climbed the bus. Again, Jamal spends the whole day thinking about the poor old man with no shoes. He seems to be alone as well, and that's why Jamal's heart is heartbroken. The following morning before going to school, Jamal asks his parents if they have any spare money. His parents wonder why he is asking, and he says he will buy a pair of cheap slippers. Jamal does not tell his parents that the slippers are actually not for him, but for the poor old man walking around barefoot. His parents knew that he was walking without shoes on, so they decided to give the money they did not spend for food that night before. Jamal is so happy that he can finally help the man buy new slippers, and that he won't have to walk and feel cold on the dampness of the streets. When Jamal gets to the bus station, the old man is nowhere to be found. He tries to track where the bus often goes, and surprisingly, he sees the man outside a night shelter for the homeless. Jamal's heart almost breaks as he sees the old man walk barefoot towards the line entering the night shelter. It's still daytime, but tons are already in queue for a shelter. Jamal feels thankful for a short while, realizing that his family still manages to live in that makeshift home they have under the bridge. But then his happiness fades when he catches a glimpse of the old man cutting the line and going straight to the front. Afraid that the man will be pushed aside by the other homeless people in line, he runs towards the man and stops him from entering. The man is shocked to see a black teenage boy clinging onto his feet. "How can I help you?" the man asks Jamal. Jamal is baffled for a while, thinking he's the one who actually needs help. But he gets up and tells him he will give him money to buy himself a cheap pair of slippers. The man is stunned by the boy's acts. He asks Jamal why he gives him money when he himself has no shoes on. Jamal replies, "My mother said we're not homeless people because we have a family. My family is my home." The old man realizes that Jamal just sacrificed his own feet for him, a stranger he only saw twice. But before he can say thank you, Jamal runs away. The following day, Jamal awakens to his parents' voices talking to a stranger. He gets up and is surprised to see the old man he helped inside their home. He is now wearing shoes made out of leather. It seems very far from what he expected from the money he gave. Then the old man explains everything to Jamal. Turns out he's actually a millionaire who goes to the night shelter every morning to volunteer and help with the expenses for food and the shelter itself. He is one of the many sponsors of the shelter, and the reason why he often walks barefoot is because whenever he encounters a homeless man on his way, he gives them a piece of his clothing. May it be a coat, a cap, a scarf, or a pair of shoes. Jamal is surprised to hear this, but what surprises him more is when the old man gives him a key and a box. When he opens the box, he sees a pair of new rubber shoes. And when he asks about the key, he is told that the man is giving his family their own apartment that the old man once owned. "I can't believe that a boy who has nothing can actually sacrifice his everything for a man he doesn't even know," the old man tells him and thanks him once again. Jamal is beyond happy, and he hugs his family tight while tears fall down his cheeks. Not only did his hard work help his family go back to their feet, but his kindness and selflessness too. That's all for today. We hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you on the next.